This is Tom from Dirk Witte Music Store in Utrecht, the Netherlands, and today we are taking a look at a brand new and very exciting Gibson artist model from the Gibson USA line. This is the Gibson Marcus King ES-345 in a beautiful and classic looking cherry red finish. Just got released today at the day of posting this demo, the Marcus King ES-345. He had released an ES-345 that looks very much similar to this a couple of months or maybe like a year prior from the Gibson custom shop, but that one is obviously in a little bit of a different price range. This one is from the Gibson USA line, so it is a little bit more affordable, if you will. But a very, very cool model with the beautiful gold hardware. So this model is then based on actually his own personal ES-345 from 1961. That is an actual vintage example that actually looks very much like this, also with all of the gold hardware and with the very cool sideways vibrola tailpiece. So this is kind of like a remake of that, but then in a little bit more of an affordable package. So yeah, Marcus King, in case you didn't know, he is an incredible blues player from the USA, from America, from the state of South Carolina, and he is pretty much kind of like one of the modern guitar gods, if you will, almost, because he's just incredibly talented, very like soulful playing, and yeah. He also knows how to put together a very cool ES-345 style of guitar. So yeah, this is what we are getting, and yeah, I am all up for it. So let's dive into the specs. So it is obviously an ES-345 style of electric guitar. So a semi-hollow body construction with a maple block in the center, a solid maple block in the center, and then laminated maple back, top, back, and sides, obviously with the dual sound holes, with the gold hardware, which is also much accurate, like traditionally speaking, the ES-345 as compared to like the ES-335 would get the gold hardware, and also a little bit more binding. So we've got some 3-ply binding around the top and then a single-ply binding around the back. We've got some dual sound holes also, very much like typical, and then obviously also then again in this beautiful translucent cherry red finish where you can see all of that beautiful maple wood grain also there on the back of the neck. A very classic look. Dual humbuckers. These are actually some Gibson custom buckers, so that is quite impressive, because like normally you would get like non-Gibson custom shop humbuckers, obviously, but these are actually the same type of humbuckers that you get like in a like an ES-335 or an ES-355 from the Gibson custom shop. So that is very, very high quality and very much a bonus. With the black pickup rings, you've then got kind of like a Nashville style bridge, but you do got like the ABR1 or like the faux ABR1 posts, if you will. So they're a little bit smaller, like the posts or the bushings that go into the body, but it is kind of like Nashville in style in the sense that it is a little bit wider. So you got a lot of room for your intonation. You can then also adjust the height with an Allen key over there in the middle of the screw, so that is actually a very nice plus. That way you don't have to like mess with that wheel that is not always all that easy to like turn. What is also very cool is you've got this very cool plaque that reads Marcus King, and that is kind of like an homage to the I believe custom made plaque. Like traditionally in the 1960s, if an ES style of guitar a lot of the times would be like a custom order, or like would be out of the ordinary with like a different tailpiece from like the normal model. You get a plaque that would read custom made, if I remember correctly. If I'm wrong, I will put it over here. But in the case of this model, we've got Marcus King right here. So that is very, very cool. Looks super, super classy. And then we've also got this very cool tailpiece. This is actually a part of the like the Gibson sideways vibrola tailpiece, which was a tailpiece that was first introduced in, I believe, 1961. Kind of short-lived. I believe in 1962 it got replaced with the kind of like the walrus tooth type of vibrola tailpiece. But what this was traditionally, it was a vibrato tailpiece where you would have an arm over here on the side that you can like flip out, and then you could like use that in a sideways manner to get a vibrato effect. But we are now lacking that arm, and we are just now left with this very cool look, because these tailpieces from the early 1960s are kind of like notorious for not being all that great. They look very cool, but they do not stay in tune all that well, because if you then use it, and I just don't think that it worked all that well, as in that the mechanics in it for some reason, or like with the springs, whatever. What I do know is that they didn't work that well. We also had like an 1961 Les Paul, which was like an SG body style, that also had that kind of a tailpiece, and I can definitely confirm it did not work all that well. It looked cool again, but it didn't work all that well. So yeah, to then just have that look minus all of those type of problems, very cool. We've then got a 3-way pickup selector switch, so pretty standard. 2 volume controls and 2 tone controls, also pretty much standard. And then your input jack over here on the front. And then moving on to the neck, got a mahogany neck with a rosewood fingerboard, with also the 345 style inlays, acrylic inlays. That is also very much like accurate that this model would get in 1960, or like in the late 1950s to the 1960s. And then we have got also some binding around the fingerboard. As for the profile, it's kind of like a little bit of a slimmer profile. It actually is specified as that it starts with a 0.875 inch size or depth at the first fret, and then it becomes a bit thicker at the 12th, because over here it is 0.975 deep. So it is a little bit slimmer than usual, but still very nicely rounded, and very much also still kind of like a medium size. But it is a little bit, more slim, or like more thin. So if you don't like that big of necks, then this is a very cool model for you to consider. We've then got a GraphTech nut, and then we've got the very cool looking Gibson, kind of like a standard style headstock design. So that is what you'd also see on the 1961 ES-345, with the crown inlay and your logo done in the mother of pearl. And then on the back we've just got these Grover Rotomatic tuners, also then done in gold. And then last thing mentioned, obviously also comes with a very cool hard shell case, with also some case candy included. So you really get the full package for this very cool model. So yeah, all in all, very cool model, obviously, for a very cool player, Marcus King. He's definitely one of those players that definitely deserves a model like this, to have a model like this made for him. And he definitely knows how to put together a very cool electric guitar. Obviously then based on his own personal 1961 ES-345. And this is a very, very nice homage to that. So yeah, with all that being said, let's hear what this incredibly cool ES-345 Marcus King model sounds like. But first, if you're in the market for this very cool electric guitar, be sure to head over to the links in the description for further details. If you enjoyed this demo, be sure to like the video and to subscribe to the channel for more cool weekly demos of cool electric guitars like these, or cool acoustics, bass guitars, even of that really cool stuff. Also be sure to like us and follow us on our socials, Instagram and Facebook. Links are also in the description. With all that being said, let's hear what this brand new Gibson ES-345 Marcus King model sounds like. Going to be playing it through the Marshall JTM45 Bluesbreaker style amplifier. First be playing the clean tones, and then I'll be playing the dirty tones, for which I'll be using a non-horsey clone. So let's move on to that part, and let's take this very cool ES-345 Marcus King model for a spin.
Thank